We love covering all the bleeding edge new tech, new EVs, new trends in the industry, but we don't always get to cover long-term reliability and ownership and what happens to previous legacy EVs. I mean, we do somewhat. We have like 18 EVs at the out-of-spec hub for this very purpose, but I think it's time to go deeper. I mean, what happens when you have an old EV? What third-party services exist for the previous or used EV enthusiasts? And what happens when a company like simply drops support? Well, I'm here at Konduit EV in beautiful California to find out. All right, so out front, who do I have the pleasure of speaking to?
You've got Brian and Brent.
Nice.
Co-founders of Konduit EV.
Yeah.
And I have to first ask, the meaning behind Konduit EV, where did the name come from? And I guess a lot of people know QC charge, but how does that play into this?
Well, you take that one.
Fair enough. QC charge has a storied legacy in the industry. We approached Tony, the former owner of QC Charge, around 3 months ago about acquiring the business, and we came to a deal. We thought that QC Charge has a really great name in the parts side of things, and so we decided that it'd be best to use the QC Charge name as a parts business, and then use a new name in the industry, Konduit EV, as the repair side of the business. So that's the way we decided to go.
And we liked Conduit because it's a channel to the future and a channel for electricity. So just a way of tying it together for us.
But we got really creative on the spelling and used a K.
I was going to ask, where'd the K come from?
Yeah, why not? You got to be different, and you need a domain name, right?
Right. Well, I'm definitely excited to check out the shop.
Come on in.
So we've been settling in here now for 3 months.
Okay.
Since we took ownership. And we've made a lot of changes and evolved from when Tony was running the company, QC Charge. And we're really starting to optimize on what we feel is the direction for us. And that's is everything from supporting the Teslas with the large drive units and the technical support up to the Leaf batteries and doing rebuilds and supplying new batteries for those vehicles.
Right, so on the subject of services, I guess what is a brief, I mean, there's probably a lot of things you do. We could probably spend way too much time on it, but a brief synopsis of the main things you guys focus on.
There's a few primary things that we're focused on. So one is maintaining a couple of very specific vehicles, right? The Nissan Leaf, the Tesla Model S, any Tesla with the large drive unit, the RAV4 EV, which also has the large drive unit, and the B-Class, the Mercedes B-Class, also with the large drive unit.
And they all suffer from the same issues. That's why it's an easy fix for us.
Right, and so with this whole advent of third-party shops like yourself, I mean, why are there so few of them? And do you think a lot more will come up now that there's more and more cars with more and more problems that were originally sold as, hey, this doesn't need any maintenance?
Yeah, I think this is a supply and demand thing, right? I mean, yeah. So originally, a lot of cars didn't need maintenance because, well, that was the marketing, but also they were all under warranty, right? So if you had a problem with your car, then you took it to the manufacturer and you got it fixed for free. Well, a lot of these cars are coming out of warranty, and they still need to be worked on. The manufacturers charge massive amounts of money for labor to be able to do anything on them, and there needs to be third-party options, and that's really where this business is born.
And another differentiator is the OEM wants to do module replacement and large section replacement. We do repairs. So you don't have to replace the whole LDU with us. We can rebuild it to whatever level is needed based on the condition and customer demand.
Right. With LDUs and batteries, I mean, is there a sliding scale of like what can be repaired versus replaced? And do you find a lot of people coming to you after they tried Tesla or Mercedes or Toyota dealers and service centers?
Frequently. Right. Frequently getting people that are coming to us and say, hey, I've just been told that my car needs a complete LDU. And we say, well, bring it to us, we'll check it out and let you know if that's really the case. And often it's not the case. And that's our niche and our market that we're pursuing.
You know, the OEMs, it's kind of the default answer. Oh, just replace this whole battery, or just replace the LDU or the whole motor. And unfortunately, they don't necessarily spend some time to figure out what's actually going on. And frequently we find that, well, actually, if you just did some troubleshooting, you'd be able to see that just replacing this simple part addresses the issue. And that's something that we kind of pride ourselves on, is really understanding these cars and what's going on with them, so that we can address the actual issue rather than just saying, well, replace the whole pack or replace this whole module.
Right. And so I guess as somewhat of a tour of the shop, I mean, looking around here, we see a lot going on. We have notably a Model S that many of you recently saw in the I-90 Surge. This thing, of course, went up the coast with Kyle and then across the country on I-90. And that is a, what, 2013?
2013 Model S 85, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So they're still kicking.
They still are, and we're going to keep it kicking for a long time.
Still original battery on that one?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, it's a little over 100,000 miles. And I mean, at the moment we are replacing, or I guess doing a coolant delete on the LDU, or large drive unit. And so that is over on Out of Spec Renew as its own video, just kind of showing how that's done and what to look for. And then I guess over here, batteries. What am I looking at here?
Yeah, so batteries are one of the biggest things, obviously, that needs addressing on a lot of these cars that come in. Specifically, we have a bunch of RAV4 batteries, RAV4 EV. There's a Mercedes B-Class battery down there, and of course the ubiquitous Nissan Leaf battery as well. So Konduit EV will replace with third-party new batteries for the Nissan Leaf, 62 kilowatt hour, and we can even make those fit in the old 2011, 2012 original ZE0 Leaf.
And it takes those cars up to greater than 220 miles on a charge. So what was originally a much lower range is now like a modern car.
Right.
And additionally, we will refurbish used batteries, bring them back to life. You know, a lot of them come into us and they have 20 miles of range, even after a full charge. And we can frequently bring them pretty near their original range again after doing some work on those packs. So that's a big part of the business.
Yeah, notably Kyle's Leaf doesn't go super far, so I feel like maybe he could use an upgrade.
Send him our way.
Yeah, I think we can take care of Kyle for sure. We'll turn his Leaf, we'll do the same thing with the Leaf that we did with the B-Class.
And so part of what you guys do is also obviously specializing in parts. And a lot of people are wondering what specialty parts are required or even benefiting like these special type of repairs.
Okay, and it's a good question because it is new. People don't even know what they need necessarily. And this is perhaps the most useful tool in our shop. It is a Tesla motor clamp, and this is what we use for holding our motor while we're doing all kinds of work on it. And we can rotate it 360 degrees when mounted in a standard motor crane. And this unit here is a cradle for removing a LDU out of a Tesla RAV4. You don't need to drop the whole chassis on that vehicle, so in that circumstance, this cradle works great. And finally, this is for picking up the LDUs. As they weigh hundreds of pounds, you can now have it suspended from a crane or a forklift and have it balanced and move that motor wherever you need it in your shop.
Right.
And so all of these are available for other shops to buy.
Okay, so you guys kind of design these and then they're just available to make these repairs easier in other
That's
places.
correct.
Nice.
And these are our websites in the process of being updated. All of these are going to be available online for purchase.
And who is this?
This is Bear. He's our shop dog. He watches over the place for us and also gives everyone treats. Yeah, he wants butt scratches.
And who are you?
My name is James. I'm the shop manager at Konduit EV, and yeah, I work here.
What is this Leaf doing?
Yeah, man. So this Leaf is sitting here because it needs a brand new battery pack in it, unfortunately. So this gentleman took his car to the dealership. He had a inhibition code where it won't allow him to start the vehicle. Took it in, they're like, oh man, we can't figure out what the problem is. It's probably your whole high voltage battery. You need to replace it. They quoted him $18,000. They kept it there for about 3 months, and he's like, no, it can't be that. You know, it's a 2022. There's no way it's that. Ended up towing it down to us. We opened up the battery pack, and we actually found out that it's the tall modules. Now, these tall modules are extremely difficult to get. We only found one place that would sell them, and they wanted $5,000 a piece. In this battery pack here, in the 2022 pack, these are the 2 tall modules that went bad. So we tested all the isolation. What's happening is there is a dead short in these 2 packs. So the grounding isn't doing what it's supposed to. So whenever we tested it, we were getting 24 from positive to the case here, which you're not supposed to get any at all. And it was these faulty too. So to replace these 2 packs, $10,000, which we can actually get a brand new 62 kilowatt hour battery with the cattle cells for $10,000 and get it installed in his vehicle for 11. So, you know, he's saving about $7,000 instead of just getting 2 modules replaced. Yeah, so I mean, it's crazy. We're starting to see a lot of these newer Leafs have this exact problem, and heck, I know even Kyle had the same issue.
Right. Yeah.
You know, his only had like 50 miles on it from what I heard, but this one, I mean, this one's got 100,000. The guy was using it for Uber. But I mean, all the cells tested fine. When we plugged it in, read all the individual cells, everything was testing great. And so it took us a while to figure out that it was a dead short.
Right. So the high mileage is kind of what, because most people will be like, oh, 2022
yeah.
warranty, right?
Yeah.
If he's above the mileage,
Yep.
then what are you going to do?
And he paid extra warranty and won't cover it. So
wow.
It's crazy. Most of the vehicles we get in here are not under warranty.
Right.
And so we're actually able to help them out versus where they go to the dealership and it's, you know, triple the price of what it would be. So yeah, it's pretty fun stuff. We're getting a lot more Nissan Leafs coming in. We're starting to see a lot of 2012s to the 2015 models coming in. We're starting to do the 62 kilowatt swaps in them. And I mean, we just did, I think, 3 last week. And yeah, everyone's loving it. I mean, we're gonna see this market explode, especially for these you know, bigger packs and those older Leafs, because man, those motors, they're bulletproof, man. I mean, we've never ever worked on a single Nissan Leaf motor.
Wow.
So I mean,
Give him new life.
yeah, believe it or not, these also have oil. But yeah, I mean, we don't see people change the oil, and you know, these things get 250,000 miles and not a single issue. So bulletproof, made to last. We're actually going to get a 62 kilowatt hour pack for one of our own personal Leafs and turn it into a shop car, replace all the suspension, and then we're going to pretty much test that thing to the max.
Nice.
So, you know, put basically a torture test.
Right.
And see how it handles. So, cool.
So I guess continuing past the battery wall over here, there's a lot of fun things. This is like Santa's workshop over here.
Dude, tell me about it, man. This is kind of the stages of going through here of what coolant intrusion does, not having like grease on your primary drive shaft. You know, so this is stripped splines here. All the grease was drying out from, you know, that amount of torque on the primary drive shaft. I mean, it just totally stripped it. And so when you run out of grease, that's what happens, and you have to replace your rotor and your primary drive shaft, and you know, it's not cheap. And then here's what a a rotor looks like with major coolant intrusion.
Yeah.
So yeah, corrosion. That comes up, dude, and yeah, it's no fun. So you know, getting one of these coolant deletes is like really major and preventing your LDU from crapping out on you and just having problem after problem. And what's so crazy is, you know, even if you go to Tesla and get it replaced under warranty, they're going to put the exact same large drive unit with the exact same problem in, unless you get the U model. But a lot of people don't know you have to ask for the U model.
Wow. So
yeah,
it's like a new version. Like
so the U model actually is the coolant delete. It's the exact same technology that we made, but they just made their version, and now they install them on the newer large drive units. So
yeah. So once again, this is a little bit of a bread and butter situation of what you guys do. A lot of times, it's what's happening over there. That's its own video over on Out of Spec New.
Yeah.
But that's the coolant delete itself, which you can see right here, as well as the what do you call it? The
storm drain.
Storm drain on the inverter cover.
Yep. Yep. So that does 2 things. One is it allows any built-up coolant that was remaining in the stator, because that coolant can get in those windings, and as the rotor heats everything up, that coolant starts to evaporate and build moisture, and it will travel into the inverter side. And the whole point is for it to have somewhere to go, so it doesn't just stay on your electronics. And then 2 is there's a crankcase on the large drive unit there, and the rotor seal can actually break and leak, and then all of that oil will go into your inverter, which is fine, it's non-conductive, but then your gears are all derived of oil, and yeah, then you have the gear graveyard over here. So the whole point is, if your Tesla's leaking oil and you see it from the storm drain, it's time to replace that seal.
Right.
But
does the storm drain apply to the RAV4 and B-Class as well?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the large drive unit is universal in the 2012 to 2014 Toyota RAV4 EV, 2014 to 27 Mercedes B-Class 250e, and then the Tesla Model S from 2012 to 2022. And then these are all the same actual, here's one from a Tesla Model S, this one's from a Toyota, and this one's from a Mercedes. And they're all the same large drive unit. This is what it should look like, nice and clean and beautiful inside. This is bad, and that's coolant in there, but we were able to get to the rotor out. And this is worst case scenario. This is where it's stuck in there.
Seized.
Yeah, nothing, you can't rotate it, nothing. We've tried for days getting this thing out, and we just can't do it, so. Wow. We'll figure it out, though.
Yeah.
And so they all share the same parts, other than the Toyota EV, RAV4 EV has a reverse gear set and a parking paw.
Okay.
So everything just runs in reverse there. So if you were to put that in a Tesla, put it in drive, you'd go backwards.
That's so funny.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. But yeah, these inverters for them, for the Mercedes and the Toyota, are getting harder and harder to find because they stopped producing them. So whatever's left is whatever's left.
Yeah. So I guess, looking at these inverters, I mean, I think you mentioned the delicate electronics are kind of at the bottom, and so if there does get moisture in there, it collects at the bottom.
Yeah, the way this inverter sits in the inverter cover, when that coolant runs over, all the coolant pools right here, and this is where your main motherboard is. So when that coolant gets in there and fries it, man, it's not a good day. This one came from a Toyota RAV4 EV. This is like one in a million kind of thing, so it throws a phantom code. Everything's fine, no coolant intrusion, nothing. It'll just throw a phantom code, shut the whole vehicle off. You can't clear it. It's just going to be like that forever. So we actually swapped one of our good RAV4 EVs, shop one, gave it to the customer. We're going to take this one because you just have to restart it every now and then. But
so diagnostics-wise, I mean, obviously, like the Tesla Model S has a service mode.
Yeah.
What does the RAV4 and B-Class have, and how can you diagnose things that way?
Yeah. So man, first thing we do, speed sensor test. That's what we always check first. Is if there's coolant in there, that's where we look at. The majority of the issues that come from are the inverter side, isolation side. So if too much coolant gets in here in the isolation test pad, it can actually throw off all the communication with the inverter.
Right.
When we hook up our software, though, so we use a Toyota Tesla software, and man, it is not very friendly. They didn't make it very easy to use. You really have to know what you're looking for. And the way that it works with those Toyota RAV4 EV diagnostic software is you fix one thing, it then tells you the 5 other things that are wrong.
Oh, okay.
So, it's not like it gives you all 5 codes at once.
Yep.
You have to fix the first thing, and then it'll tell you the next thing, and then, that's how it goes. But Mercedes, we use Zentry. It's actually pretty easy. Zentry's been used by Mercedes for a very, very long time, and so Tesla and Mercedes actually partnered together to kind of intertwine the software, so super easy to read. We see a lot of DC to DC go out on the Mercedes and the onboard chargers. Same thing with the RAV4 EVs, but the Tesla ones are actually pretty solid. We don't see very many onboard and DC to DCs go out on them.
Nice.
We do see the battery heater cores go out though.
Yeah.
So, and then this is our workstations. This is where I make all the magic happen, answer the phone calls,
nice.
Emails, my huge speaker up there so I can bump some music. And then this is our parts yard. So all of our good parts go over here. We actually get most of these from Toyota RAV4 EVs, Mercedes B-Class EVs when their inverter's shot and we can't get them anymore.
Yeah.
We part them, and the rest goes off to the junkyard, and we're able to keep recycling it and keeping other, Toyota RAV4 EVs and Mercedes B-Class on the road for other customers. So,
yeah, you have to be creative with parts because they didn't make a ton of either of those.
No, they didn't.
B-Class was global, right? And was sold in some other states, CARB states, but the Toyota RAV4 was California.
Yep, they only made 2,600 of those Toyota RAV4 EVs, and so what's left is what's left. I think there's only about 1,000 of them left.
Wow.
Yeah, so they're getting harder and harder to find. So when you see it go to the junkyard, we got to take the parts off of it and keep them going. But
right.
Yeah, so we just started stripping out a Leaf yesterday, and getting all the cables out, and we've had a motor from a Nissan Leaf we pulled out, I think 5 years ago. Never used it. Like I said, those things are bulletproof, so
Nice.
Pretty good stuff.
What is all this stuff over here?
Yeah, so this was when QC Charge was in its prime back in the day. This is where Tony started producing the J177 extension cables. He started making the JDemo fast charging, and so this is where he held all the huge spools of wire to make them. Yeah, and he was in the manufacturing business. All these actual red tables were his stations where he made all the cabling and JDemo fast charging kits. So it's a cool little homage to the history that happened here. We might convert it into a battery rack at some point.
Yeah.
Yep, same here.
Awesome.
Yep. Yep, Tony got a really good deal on that, and we actually want to get it up and running again.
That would be so sweet.
It's so outdated, but man, it would be cool.
Yeah.
It would be so cool. So yeah, we're going to get that running eventually, and then convert that Studebaker into a EV conversion, and really get the good feel here. Eventually we want to transition Konduit EV into a 50s style kind of theme. Yeah. That's why, we went with that and the writing and everything. So it would be cool to have it, Jetsons new age kind of style.
Right.
So that's what we're working towards, but this is where we start right now. So yeah, it's really a dream. Jacob and I, we never really expected to be in this industry, and it happened, and we love it and can't get enough of it. So we notice it's a fast growing market, and there's no one really diving in and doing what we do. So we saw the opportunity, and we're just happy to be a part of Konduit EV.
Under the infamous I-90 Surge champion, by champion I mean last place, but hey, it's a 2013 that made it across America nonstop. Please introduce yourself and what you're doing over here in this little space.
I am Jacob. I am the lead technician here at Konduit EV. I do everything from coolant deletes, motor rebuilds, contactors on the batteries, pretty much anything that goes wrong with the RAV4s, B250Es, Tesla Model S's. It's me doing the work. So it's really not as hard as most think, but it is dangerous if you don't know what you're doing.
So you got two lifts here, right? Is that enough?
yeah, just anything to like, I guess, jump me on to the next thing.
And these are 10,000 pound capable?
Yeah, 10,000 pounds.
So
yeah.
Even a Hummer EV, I guess, could in theory.
Yep. Yeah, in theory.
But yeah, so like right now, for example, doing the coolant delete on this Model S, and actually currently putting it back together.
Yep.
But like you said, not everything is that hard, but it is. You have to have the knowledge of how to do it.
Absolutely, yeah.
And you have to kind of troubleshoot when things go wrong. I mean, for example, this was at a previous dealership who shall remain nameless, but
yeah,
and they tightened something. They first cross-threaded one of these bolts.
Yep, for the upper control arm.
Yeah,
right.
The upper control arm, and they cross-threaded it and then tightened it. So just destroyed the bolt basically.
Yep. So when we went to go loosen it, it snapped.
Right.
And then we spent, the majority of the day trying to get it out. Eventually succeeding.
So things happen, but having enough tools on hand really does help.
Absolutely, yes, it does.
Obviously, a lot of tools here. What are some of the most common repairs you're doing? I mean, we've mentioned this coolant delete. Is that the most popular thing?
It's up there. It's definitely up there. I'd say 50% of the time it's the coolant deletes. Other 50% of the time it's actual motor rebuilds, and then the other 50% of the time, so 150% in total, is mostly the RAV4s. We are really dedicated here in keeping those RAV4s on the road. People really love them. They have a huge cult following, and lucky for us, they have a lot of issues. Whether that be the contactors or the onboard charger, the DC to DC converter. The RAV4s also have the same exact large drive unit, as James may have told you guys. And they have that coolant leak issue, which eventually fries out the entire motor. So we are able to do coolant deletes on the RAV4s as well.
Right. So those are basically the three cars you work on, plus the Leafs.
Yep, plus the Leafs as well.
how many cars can you guys handle, and like anything new, or is it like mostly just the older stuff out of warranty?
Mostly the older stuff out of warranty. We can handle a lot of cars. At one point, under previous management, we had 27 cars here. Yeah. So, and we're only allowed 11 cars out on the lot, so we were packing them in every single night.
Wow, this sounds like the out of spec hub right now. We have about that many cars in our shop.
Yeah. Yep. And so eventually we made our way through it. Obviously, that's not the way it should be done, because Connor, we had his car for a long time, but that wasn't up to us. That was
right.
management.
Yeah. Kyle finally got his V-Class back as soon as new management came in.
Exactly. As soon as we were Konduit EV, we got him his car back within a week, I believe.
Right. Right. So I guess for a coolant delete, I mean, optimally, how long would that take you, or like multiple of you if you're working on it?
So if James and I are both tackling it, we can get it done within about 4 hours.
Nice.
So 7 to 8 man hours.
Yep.
If it's just me, I can get it done in about 8 hours.
Okay.
On the RAV4, it takes about an hour all said and done, because you don't even have to drop the motor. You just take off the passenger side wheel and then a dust cover, and it's right smack dab right there.
Oh, that's
so
amazing.
Yeah, B-Class is about 3 hours, because you got to move some mounts out of the way and everything, and it's a little more delicate on the coolant purge process.
Right.
But yeah, the coolant, I really like the coolant deletes, because it's just it's pretty simple. It's not hard to mess up. Not that I can't do more in-depth jobs, but
and how complicated is, like, when you say motor rebuild, that sounds intense.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely it's got its ins and outs. I mean, there is probably over 1,000 bolts all said and done. So you just have to keep doing it. You learn along the way, and I mean, yeah, the full motor rebuild, it takes about two solid days of work.
Okay.
And that's, I mean, grinding 30-minute lunches and getting right back to it.
Yeah.
Which I have no problem with. That's just how I operate.
It sounds like a fun place to do all this.
Yeah, I mean, we got the tools to do it, which makes everything a dream. Because I've done it, like I said, under previous management when we didn't have all the things that we needed. And I mean, there's a reason people's cars were taking a long time to get done.
Right.
So,
up top, is that just more storage up there?
Yep. Yeah, that's just more storage. We got a couple, like some more, like I don't know if you guys saw over there all of our parts. We have some more parts up there, as well as some of the old wiring harnesses and everything for the JDMO kits.
They are battening up the coolant delete that we did today, and I wanted to quickly mention, I mean, this cool lineup of cars out here. Obviously. Yeah. Some of your bread and butter RAV4 EVs, which are just so cool. Every time I see one in the wild, which feels like more than I expected, given that
there's a lot of them out there.
There's a lot. There's also a little. It just depends how you look at it.
Fair enough.
But what is this lineup here?
So this is cars in various states of repair or disrepair.
Right.
Some are customer cars. A couple of them are owned by us. And we use them for various things. One is testing new solutions, right? We use the Leafs to test the new battery packs that we order, the third-party battery packs. So those need a lot of testing and validation to make sure they're not going to have a problem at any point during the service life, right, or a warranty anyway. And then some of them, unfortunately, they get parted out and scrapped.
Nice.
But that's just the way it works.
Yep. It's a really cool lineup, especially 3 Leafs of the same color from the same generation. It's pretty awesome.
When we had Kyle's B-Class here, there was a few other B-Classes as well, and we had them all lined up. So we had the RAV4s, the Leafs, the B-Class. It was pretty sweet.
All right, so the sun is clearly setting on today, but seems like Konduit EV is just getting started in a whole new phase.
We are indeed.
So I guess, where can people find you? We've kind of talked about a lot of what you guys do out here. By the way, this is Vista, California, for anyone who wanted to know. It's beautiful. That's why I'm not in a heavy jacket. I'm not home in Colorado where there's literally ice on the ground.
In the middle of December.
Right, yeah, this is amazing.
We'll take it.
I'm just gonna live here.
Anytime, you're welcome.
Yeah, so where can people find you? What's the best way to get a hold of you and get some work done?
Yeah, so the best way to find us is just online, either qccharge.com for parts, or Konduit EV with a K. .com for service.
Nice.
On there is our contact information. Give us a call if you have any questions about your vehicle, and we're happy to help.
Yeah, let us know if you guys have any questions down in the comments. I'll of course be there after this video is posted, fielding whatever you guys think about this. I mean, this is a whole new world for a lot of people. A lot of you are EV enthusiasts. And a lot of us drive new EVs and we're not even thinking about service, because when the vehicle was sold to us, they're like, oh, this doesn't require any maintenance. But it's really fascinating to see where EVs go once they start needing some things. Sure, it's still probably less than what your grandpa dealt with a 60s whatever car, but like it's a different world of maintenance, and it's really cool to see how a lot of it's done. So let us know if you have any questions or thoughts or other videos you want to see deep dives on. We, of course, are filming over on Out of Spec Renew this coolant delete that they're working on and just finishing up. There's a lot more things that can be done to these cars.
Absolutely.
And
you know what?
Fascinated.
We love challenges. So if you got something new and different, bring it our way.
I think, yeah, I need some more challenges in my life. So see you guys in another video very soon. Bye.